the first light of dawn spread slowly across Madrid, painting the city in soft shades of gold and rose. The air is cool and calm, carrying the distant hum of a city about to awaken. The rooftops shimmer beneath the early sun, and the narrow streets begin to glow with warmth as the darkness fades away. Shadows retreat from the grand boulevards, revealing the graceful lines of historic buildings, balconies filled with flowers, and the quiet rhythm of life returning. The gentle light of morning spills across the trees of Retiro Park, where dew glistens on the grass and the leaves sway in a tender breeze. Birds take flight above the fountains, their wings catching the light like flecks of silver dot. As the city slowly awakens, its energy begins to rise. The distant sound of footsteps, the faint hum of traffic, the soft chime of bells echoing through the streets. The spirit of Madrid stirs timeless, vibrant, alive. Amid this awakening stands a magnificent structure, the Reina Sofía Museum. Its glass walls reflect the dawn sky, glowing like a modern cathedral made of light. Once a hospital centuries ago, it has been reborn as one of Spain's greatest sanctuaries of modern art. The contrast between its ancient stone foundations and the sleek transparency of its modern design tells the story of Madrid itself, a city forever balancing history and progress, memory and creation. The morning sun climbs higher, and the museum gleams brighter, standing as a bridge between the past and the future. Around it, the world continues to move, but within its walls, art waits silent, powerful, and eternal. In the quiet rhythm of the morning, the Reina Sofía Museum stands like a guardian of memory. Its walls, built of stone and glass, hold the whispers of centuries. Before it became a museum, this building had another life, one filled not with art, but with healing. Long ago, in the 18th century, it was known as the Hospital of San Carlos, one of Madrid's great centers of care. Here, doctors and nurses tended to the sick beneath vaulted ceilings and long echoing corridors. The architecture, with its balanced proportions and neoclassical elegance, spoke of reason and order, the ideals of the Enlightenment. The walls that now cradle masterpieces once echoed with the footsteps of those seeking hope. Centuries passed. The hospital's role faded, and for a time, the building stood silent, a sleeping monument to another era. But Madrid never forgets its history. The city, alive with creativity and change, saw the potential for rebirth. The transformation began. Stone was cleaned, halls were restored, and the old became the foundation for something entirely new. Then came the vision of renewal. Modern architects looked at this centuries-old structure and imagined a dialogue between past and present. In the late 20th century, the French architect Jean Nouvel was called to reshape its future. With daring imagination, he designed vast glass and steel extensions that rose beside the old hospital, shimmering under the Madrid sun. Transparent elevators lifted visitors high into the light, while reflective surfaces captured fragments of sky, blending architecture with air and motion. The contrast was striking, the old and the new standing side by side. Heavy stone met weightless glass. History met innovation. The result was not a clash, but a harmony, a structure that speaks two languages at once, the language of memory and the language of modernity. From above, the museum seems to breathe with the rhythm of Madrid itself. The red roofs of the old city stretch outward, while the metallic glow of the Reina Sofía catches the morning light. It is both grounded in tradition and reaching toward the future. For the people of Spain, this building became more than a museum. It became a symbol of transformation, a reminder that the past can evolve without being erased. The very stones of the old hospital carry the stories of humanity, while the glass towers look forward, reflecting a world that continues to change. Inside its walls, silence meets sound, and shadow meets light. The corridors that once carried the scent of medicine now carry the hum of footsteps, the murmur of visitors, and the stillness of art that speaks louder than words. The Reina Sofía Museum stands today not just as an institution of culture, but as a living organism, one that has survived, adapted, and transformed. Its walls, once meant to heal the body, now heal the spirit through beauty, memory, and imagination. It is a place where time itself feels suspended, where every step through its halls connects to centuries in a single breath. The story of the Reina Sofía's rebirth begins in a moment of change, not only for a building, but for a nation. It was the early 1980s, and Spain was emerging from the shadows of its past. The long years of dictatorship had ended, and a new era of freedom, creativity, and expression had begun to unfold. The air of Madrid was charged with possibility artists, writers, and musicians all searching for new ways to define what Spain could become. It was in this atmosphere of renewal that the idea took shape, to create a new national museum dedicated not to the distant past, but to the living pulse of the modern world, a museum that would honor the voices of the 20th century, voices that had challenged, questioned, and reimagined everything. In 1986, the former hospital of San Carlos was officially chosen as the home for this new vision. Restoration began carefully, preserving its neoclassical dignity while preparing it for its next life. Workers moved through the grand halls, uncovering arches and courtyards that had been hidden for decades. What had once been a place of physical healing would now become a sanctuary for the spirit and the mind. Finally, in 1992, the same year, Spain celebrated its global presence at the Barcelona Olympics and the Seville Expo. The Museo Nacional Centro de Arte Reina Sofía opened its doors. It was a defining cultural moment, a statement to the world that Spain was ready to embrace modernity not just in technology and society, but in art and thought. The museum was named in honor of Queen Sofia, a devoted supporter of the arts who envisioned culture as the bridge between Spain's traditions and its future. Her name gave the institution a human warmth, a reminder that art is not distant or elite, but deeply connected to life and humanity. Inside, the first exhibitions spoke boldly. They did not whisper about the beauty of the past. They shouted about the tension and brilliance of the 20th century. The walls displayed the works of those who had redefined the meaning of art in Spain and beyond. Pablo Picasso, Salvador Dalí, Miró, Gris, and the generations of artists who followed in their footsteps. Visitors walking through the halls felt something different, a sense that this was not just another museum. It was a mirror reflecting a century of change, a century of struggle, of dreams, of artistic revolution. The Reina Sofía stood apart from its older sibling, the Prado Museum, just across the city, where the Prados celebrated the divine beauty of Velázquez, Goya, and El Greco. The Reina Sofía revealed the restless energy of modern life, the fragmentation, the protest, the freedom of the imagination. Together, they completed a dialogue across time, one museum whispering of the eternal, the other shouting of the new. From the very beginning, the Reina Sofía was never static. It was a living institution, one that evolved with each decade. Temporary exhibitions brought contemporary artists into conversation with the giants of the past. Installations, performances, and digital media entered its spaces, transforming the experience of the museum itself. Through all these transformations, the soul of the Reina Sofía remained constant, a belief that art has the power to change how we see the world. Today, as visitors step through its doors, they don't just enter a museum, they enter a movement. The birth of the Reina Sofía was not merely the opening of a gallery. It was the awakening of a nation's creative consciousness, a declaration that the art of the 20th century, with all its conflict, its emotion, and its daring, belongs not just to history, but to everyone who dares to look and feel deeply. Stepping into the galleries of the Reina Sofía is like stepping into the beating heart of modern Spain. The air inside feels charged, a quiet hum of energy that seems to linger in every hall, every canvas, every reflection of light across the polished floors. This is where emotion becomes form, and form becomes history. Here, art does not merely hang on the walls, it breathes, it confronts, it whispers, it shouts. As the visitor moves deeper into the museum, they encounter the voices that defined Spanish modernism, artists who refused to follow tradition, who painted their dreams, their fears, and their defiance onto the canvas. Each one helped shape a new identity for Spain. One brushstroke at a time. Joan Miró greets you first, his bold colors and playful forms filled with cosmic mystery. His paintings seem to float between fantasy and reality, filled with stars, eyes, and shapes that dance in silent rhythm. Miró once said he wanted to assassinate painting, to break away from all that was ordinary and expected. In his works, you feel that rebellion, a joyful freedom that refuses to be contained by logic or rule. A few rooms away, the world bends again, this time through the surreal lens of Salvador Dali. His visions twist and stretch reality itself. Clocks melt under the heat of imagination, landscapes dissolve into dreams, and the human mind becomes a labyrinth of impossible beauty. Dali's genius was both madness and precision. He painted dreams with the detail of a scientist. His art invites us to wander inside the subconscious, where fear and fascination coexist. Then comes Gris, the poet of structure and silence. His cubist compositions fracture objects into shards of geometry, bottles, guitars, newspapers, all rearranged into harmony. He took the chaos of the modern world and gave it balance, order, and grace. Where others sought emotion, Gris sought intellect. Yet beneath his calm compositions lies a deep lyricism, the quiet music of modern life. But above them all, one name dominates the air of the Reina Sofía, Pablo Picasso. His presence is everywhere, his spirit woven into the very foundation of the museum. From his early works, full of tenderness and melancholy, to his bold experiments in cubism and abstraction, Picasso embodies the entire journey of 20th century art. He was the mirror of his time, reflecting war, love, fear, and defiance. Picasso's art is not just about beauty, it is about truth. His brush captured the emotional violence of a century torn between progress and pain. He painted what could not be said, turning color and form into language, a language that still speaks to every generation that stands before his work. Together, these artists, Miró, Dali, Gris and Picasso, are not merely names in a museum. They are the pulse of Spanish modernism, the embodiment of a nation's restless creativity. Through them, we see how Spain transformed itself from a land rooted in classical tradition to a cradle of avant-garde imagination. The walls of the Reina Sofía carry more than paint. They carry stories of courage, of artists who dared to see differently. Every painting here is both a confession and a revolution, an act of defiance against conformity, an invitation to dream. As light pours through the glass ceilings, illuminating the galleries, the colors seem to awaken. It is as if the museum itself breathes, inhaling the silence of thought, exhaling the soundless roar of creativity. Each visitor becomes part of this living dialogue. Standing at the crossroads of history and imagination. In these rooms, art ceases to be an object. It becomes an experience, a journey through emotion, through time, through the soul of Spain itself. At the center of the Reina Sofía Museum lies a single room, quiet, solemn, almost sacred. The air feels different here. Visitors lower their voices instinctively, as if stepping into a place of remembrance. Before them, stretching across the wall like a storm frozen in time, is one of the most powerful paintings ever created, Pablo Picasso's Guernica. The canvas is vast, nearly 8 meters wide, its black, white, and gray tones creating a landscape of anguish and chaos. At first glance, it feels overwhelming, a collision of forms, faces, and symbols, all caught in an explosion of emotion. But as the eyes adjust, the story begins to emerge, not a story of beauty, but of horror, defiance, and humanity itself. In 1937, during the Spanish Civil War, the small Basque town of Guernica was bombed by German and Italian planes supporting Franco's forces. It was a brutal act, hundreds of innocent lives lost, an entire community reduced to ashes. When Picasso heard the news, he was shattered. He had been commissioned to paint a mural for the Spanish pavilion at the Paris World's Fair that same year. And with Guernica's destruction, his purpose changed forever. He would no longer paint a celebration of modern life. He would paint its destruction. In less than 2 months, Picasso created his masterpiece, a work that would transcend time and politics. He stripped color away, using only shades of black, white, and gray, to echo the stark brutality of newspaper photographs. What emerged was not a literal depiction of war, but a symbolic one, a universal cry against violence. A woman screams toward the heavens, her child limp in her arms. A horse collapses in agony, its body pierced by a spear. A bull stands defiantly, its gaze cold and eternal. A single light bulb shines above, not as hope, but as exposure, revealing every horror that human hands can create. In this fractured world, everything is broken, yet everything is alive with emotion. Standing before Guernica in the Reina Sofía, one feels its gravity not just as a painting, but as a presence. The silence of the room is heavy, but within that silence there is movement, the whisper of empathy, the weight of memory, the unspoken promise that such suffering must never be forgotten. Picasso himself once said, "Painting is not made to decorate apartments. It is an instrument of war." Here, his words come alive. Guernica is not decoration, it is confrontation. It is art turned into resistance. For decades, the painting lived in exile at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, waiting for Spain to return to democracy. Picasso had insisted that it should not come home until freedom returned to his country. Only in 1981, 6 years after Franco's death, did Guernica finally return to Spain, a homecoming charged with emotion and meaning. And when it arrived, it was not placed in the Prado, among kings and saints, but here, in the Reina Sofía, among the people, among the new voices of art and freedom. Today, countless visitors stand before it, some in awe, some in tears, all silent. Each person brings their own history, their own sorrow, their own hope. And in the shifting light of the gallery, Guernica continues to speak. It speaks to those who know war and those who only imagine it. It speaks of pain, but also of endurance. It is a painting that belongs to no single time. It belongs to every moment when humanity chooses to remember rather than forget. Here in this quiet room at the heart of the Reina Sofía, art becomes witness. And in that witness, it becomes eternal, leaving the solemn presence of Guernica. Visitors step into halls alive with experimentation and energy. Here, the spirit of Spain's modern art pulses in many forms: paintings, sculptures, photographs, and installations that push boundaries and challenge perception. This is a space where the legacy of Picasso, Miró, and Dali meets the voices of a new generation, artists unafraid to explore, to provoke, and to question. In one gallery, the vivid abstractions of post-war artists dominate the walls. Color explodes in unrestrained gestures, reflecting a society reborn from repression, seeking freedom in every brushstroke. These works are intimate and bold, abstract and precise, a mirror of the complexities of Spain as it moved into democracy. Photography and multimedia find their place here as well. Cameras capture the fleeting moments of urban life, the faces of the marginalized, the quiet rebellion of everyday existence. Video installations flicker across the darkened walls, turning the viewer into participant, merging observer and observed. Here, the museum becomes immersive, not just a place to look, but a place to feel, to inhabit, to experience. sculpture enters the conversation, filling the spaces between paintings and photographs. From towering abstract forms to delicate, intimate works, each piece challenges the definition of art itself. Metal bends, wood fractures, glass shatters, yet every sculpture carries purpose, carrying the weight of modern thought and emotion. The Reina Sofía curators have always sought dialogue between artists, between eras, and between visitor and artwork. Temporary exhibitions bring international voices into conversation with Spanish masters, creating spaces where cultures collide, merge, and inspire. The museum does not isolate art. It connects it to life, to society, and to the ongoing evolution of thought. Walking through these galleries, one feels a rhythm, a heartbeat of creative exploration that extends beyond the museum walls. Every visitor becomes part of that rhythm, absorbing the energy of experimentation, the courage to challenge the familiar, and the audacity to imagine something new. This is the essence of the Reina Sofía beyond Picasso, a living, breathing archive of innovation. It is a testament to the fact that art is never static, never complete. It grows, shifts, and transforms with each generation, carrying forward the legacy of rebellion, vision, and expression. Here, the museum becomes a bridge between past and present, between tradition and the avant, between the artist's vision and the viewer's experience. It is a place where Spain's story continues to unfold, not only through history, but through imagination, courage, and the endless pursuit of creativity. In these halls, the voice of a new Spain is clear, bold, experimental, fearless, and alive. And as visitors move through the museum, they do not merely witness art, they participate in it, walking alongside a country that has reinvented itself time and time again, always through the lens of creativity. The Reina Sofía Museum is not only a sanctuary for art, it is a masterpiece of architecture itself, a space where light, structure, and history converge to create an experience as powerful as the paintings and sculptures it houses. Natural light pours through vast glass ceilings and walls, filling the galleries with a soft, shifting glow. Each hour of the day changes the way the spaces feel. The morning sun brings clarity and warmth. The afternoon light creates long shadows that dance across the floors, and the evening casts a golden hue that wraps the museum in quiet intimacy. The modern extensions, designed by Jean Nouvel, rise alongside the original 18th century hospital with elegance and purpose. Transparent elevators move silently through the glass towers, carrying visitors upward, offering breathtaking views of Madrid's skyline. From these vantage points, the city stretches out in a mosaic of rooftops, parks, and bustling streets, a reminder that the museum is both part of the urban fabric and a sanctuary removed from it. Inside, the architecture guides the visitor on a journey. Wide corridors lead to intimate rooms, and open halls invite reflection. Red steel beams trace the edges of galleries, intersecting with the soft curves of the original stone walls. The interplay of old and new creates tension and harmony at once. The solidity of history, balanced with the transparency of innovation. Light itself becomes a collaborator with the art. Sunlight illuminates the texture of paint, casts reflections on polished floors, and accentuates the forms of sculpture. Glass walls allow the city outside to become part of the museum experience, blending urban life with the contemplative stillness of the galleries. The central Atasha courtyard, with its olive trees and open sky, offers a place of pause. Visitors wander among sculptures, sit on benches, or simply watch the changing light play on the museum's walls. It is a space where architecture, nature, and human presence converge, reminding us that art exists not only on the walls, but in the spaces between. Even the smallest details speak to intention and care. Staircases, ramps, and glass partitions are designed to encourage movement while preserving sightlines and perspective. Every element of the building is orchestrated to create a flow, a choreography of light, shadow, and structure that enhances the experience of the art it contains. On this way, the Reina Sofía is more than a museum. It is a living, breathing organism. Its walls tell stories, its glass reflects history and future alike, and its light transforms every moment into a new experience. Walking through the museum, one cannot separate the art from the architecture. They exist in dialogue, each amplifying the other. Here, the physical space becomes part of the story, shaping perception, emotion, and understanding. The Reina Sofía teaches that beauty is not only in what is displayed, but in how it is seen. It is a place where history meets innovation, where stone and steel, shadow and sunlight, past and present, all converge in perfect harmony. In the heart of the Reina Sofía lies a space that feels both intimate and expansive. The central courtyard, a place where art, architecture, and life intersect. This is the Atocha courtyard, a calm oasis amid the pulse of Madrid, where visitors pause, reflect, and connect. Sunlight pours gently into the open space, illuminating the olive trees that rise from the stone-paved ground. Their branches sway in the breeze, casting delicate shadows that shift with the movement of the day. Benches are scattered thoughtfully, inviting visitors to sit, to rest, to observe the dance of light and leaves above. Sculptures occupy the courtyard with quiet authority. Works by Alexander Calder and other modern masters dot the space, some towering and bold, others subtle and intimate. Their forms create a dialogue, not only with the surrounding architecture but also with the visitors themselves. People move among them, their shadows stretching across the stone like echoes of the art they witness. The courtyard is alive with human presence. Children sketch on notepads, capturing the movement of branches or the curve of a sculpture. Couples linger, whispering observations to each other. Tour groups pass slowly, their guides sharing insights into the stories behind the works. Here, conversation flows as naturally as the light, and every voice becomes part of the atmosphere. The space is designed to merge the inner world of the museum with the outer life of the city. From the courtyard, glimpses of Madrid's streets, rooftops, and distant towers remind visitors that the museum is not isolated. It is part of a larger dialogue, a bridge between public and private, between history and the present moment. Even the smallest details encourage engagement. The texture of the stone beneath your feet, the gentle ripple of water in fountains, the subtle changes in elevation, all invite a sensory awareness. Visitors are not just looking, they are experiencing, moving through a space where art, architecture, and life converge. In the courtyard of conversations, the Reina Sofía reveals its democratic spirit. Art is not distant or untouchable here. It surrounds you, engages you, and welcomes you into the conversation. Every visitor becomes part of a larger narrative, a shared experience of culture, history, and imagination. As the sun shifts toward afternoon, the light changes the mood of the courtyard once more. Shadows lengthen, colors deepen, and the air feels warmer, softer, infused with the quiet hum of reflection and dialogue. Here, in this open space, the museum reveals a truth, that art is not only to be seen, but to be lived, to be shared, to inspire conversation and connection across time, space, and generations. The courtyard of conversations is more than a physical space, it is a metaphor for the museum itself. Open, inclusive, alive, and endlessly engaging. Ascending to the upper floors of the Reina Sofía, visitors enter a realm where the museum's energy pulses with innovation and experimentation. Here, the walls are alive with contemporary voices, each work a statement, a question, a challenge to the way we perceive the world. Gone are the quiet shadows of history. Here, color, sound, and movement collide in bold, unexpected ways. Video installations flicker across the darkened halls, transforming the viewer from passive observer to active participant. Screens display stories of identity, memory, and social change, engaging with the concerns of a modern Spain and a modern world. Sculptures occupy unexpected corners, forcing the eye to move, to follow, to reconsider. Metal twists and curves in impossible angles. Glass refracts light in unpredictable patterns, and every form seems to pulse with life. It is a space that rewards curiosity and challenges assumptions. The Reina Sofía's contemporary galleries are alive with dialogue. Temporary exhibitions bring international artists into conversation with the Spanish masters, creating a bridge across continents and generations. Photography captures fleeting urban moments and personal struggles. Installations explore technology and perception, and experimental works push the boundaries of traditional media. Walking through these spaces, one becomes aware of the rhythm, a heartbeat that seems to emanate from the museum itself. It is the pulse of creativity, constantly moving, evolving, refusing to be contained. Visitors feel it in the shift of light across a canvas, in the vibration of sound from an installation, in the tension of space itself. This is art as living experience, not static display. Every room becomes an environment, a narrative, a reflection of society's ongoing questions and challenges. The contemporary floors of the Reina Sofía are a testament to the museum's mission, to remain relevant, dynamic, and engaged with the world around it. Here, tradition meets innovation, and past conversations are carried forward into the future. Every new work adds a layer to the story of Spain, a story of resilience, creativity, and the courage to confront the unknown. In these galleries, visitors do not merely witness art. They are invited to think, to feel, and to participate. They become part of a continuum, a living dialogue between artists and audiences, past and present, vision and perception. The pulse of contemporary art at the Reina Sofía is unmistakable. It is a call to experience, to question, to immerse oneself fully in the energy of creation. Here, the museum is not simply a building filled with objects. It is a living, breathing organism, constantly evolving, constantly challenging, and constantly inspiring. As the sun sinks behind the rooftops of Madrid, the Reina Sofía transforms. The bustling energy of the day softens into a calm, contemplative atmosphere. The glass walls reflect the amber hues of the sunset, casting warm light across the courtyards and galleries. Shadows stretch and mingle with the remaining daylight, creating a sense of mystery and serenity. The museum, which was alive with footsteps and whispers during the day, now exhales a slower rhythm. Empty corridors seem to echo with memories of visitors who wandered here before. while the artworks themselves take on a new presence in the fading light. Paintings glow softly, sculptures stand solemnly, and every space becomes a stage for reflection. From the upper floors, the skyline of Madrid shimmers in the distance. Streetlights flicker on, illuminating the city in soft patterns of gold and silver. The museum's modern extensions gleam subtly, reflecting both the fading sun and the emerging glow of the evening. It is a dialogue between light and shadow, between the city and the sanctuary within. Visitors who linger at this hour move quietly, often alone, as if the museum has become a private world. Some stand before Guernica, letting its weight and emotion settle upon them one last time. Others wander the contemporary galleries, absorbing the interplay of light, color, and sound in near silence. Outside, the Atocha courtyard glows under the soft evening sky. Olive trees cast intricate shadows across the stone, and sculptures seem to come alive in the dimming light. It is a space of quiet conversation between nature and architecture, between past and present, between visitor and art. The Reina Sofía at night embodies both reflection and anticipation. It is a place where history lingers and the future is imagined, where the struggles, triumphs, and creativity of Spain are preserved, celebrated, and renewed. Every hallway, every gallery, every courtyard is a reminder that art is eternal, alive, even when the world outside continues to change. That as darkness deepens, the museum stands as a beacon of culture and imagination. Its presence is both protective and inspiring, inviting those who enter to pause, to contemplate, and to connect with the enduring power of human creativity.